Hello, everyone. It's Royce Eddings here, and I want to thank you all for joining me on my Royce in the House YouTube channel. I really appreciate you all being here. I love the chat. I love the people that come on later, days from now, weeks from now, whatever, and enjoy the show. This is video number 268. Uh, all of these videos are available for you to watch on my channel, YouTube channel, Royce in the House, at any time you'd like. I'm really going to enjoy this tonight because we're going to be talking about one of my favorite bands and maybe my favorite album of that band. And we're talking about the Rolling Stones and the album Sticky Fingers. Okay. So we have a couple of people starting to join us. I want to say hi to Chris Elliott. How you doing, brother? Good to see you here. Much appreciated. So we're going to get started talking about Sticky Fingers by the Rolling Stones. Okay, so Sticky Fingers is the 9th British studio album and the 11th American album by the Rolling Stones, released in April of 1971 on their new and own Rolling Stones Records label. Okay, they now had their own label. Okay, previously they had been contracted with Decca Records, London Records in the UK since '63. On this album, Mick Taylor made his second full-length appearance. After this first one was Get Your Ya-Ya's Out, a live album. Okay, this was his second full appearance, and this was the first time they'd made an album without Brian Jones, who had died 2 years earlier. The original cover art, conceived by Andy Warhol, and I want you to know we're going to talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. Original cover art conceived by Andy Warhol, photographed and put together by his crew. The art collective, The Factory was the name of the crew, showed a picture of a man, tight jeans, and a working zipper that opened to reveal underwear fabric. Okay, the cover was expensive to produce and damaged the vinyl records, so they wound up downsizing the size of the zipper to create less damage, and then eventually they just did away with the zipper altogether, just used the original photographs of the male torso. Okay, so I want to show something real quick. We've got a lot of good folks joining us here. I want to thank you all so much. My dear friend Caitlin Stoddard, Caitlin's Magical Corner. Please go check out Caitlin's channel, The Music Sanctuary. Same thing. Hi, Angela. Good to see you. Laura Rossman, thanks for coming back. We love you. Chris Elliott, Record Hound. How you doing, buddy? Novice Nick. Hey, brother. How you doing, Novice Nick? And here we have the one and only, the amazing Michael Nolan, the bottom line. Fastest.
How you doing, Royce?
I'm doing well, Michael. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, brother.
Oh, great. I'm so glad to hear that. You're looking good.
Well,
Yeah. So as I'm sure you know, we're talking about the Rolling Stones Sticky Fingers. And I wanted to thank you for the shout out on your channel today. I watched the video just about as soon as it was coming off the press there, and I really appreciated that. Yeah.
Well, you know what, Royce? I was going to do that video when I first got the album from you. And once again, thank you very much.
Oh, you're quite welcome, Michael.
One of my very favorite bands. And
yes.
So that's an album I would have picked for myself,
Yeah.
Given time. So
right.
Thank you for that. But what happened is we had a couple of deaths. And then we had a couple of news items, and I covered those. But I had that thumbnail designed weeks ago, bro.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you know what? I heard you mention a couple of times just how big a fan you were of the Police. So when I saw that, I had to get it for you. It's actually an upgraded version from the one I have with some actually UK pressings on it, and I didn't realize that in the beginning, but I did notice there were some things that one had that mine didn't have.
Yeah.
So I know you could appreciate that as well.
Yeah, you know what, bro? I've got to reconnect because I'm not hearing you very well. You're coming over the speaker and it's not doing well. Let me sign off and get back on here.
Okay. Can anybody else in the chat let me know if they're hearing me okay? Are you hearing me, folks? Michael's going to go off and come back on because he wasn't hearing me very clearly. Okay, so we'll wait for Michael. Hi, Manny, man of many voices. Good to see you, buddy. got, as I mentioned, Angela, Novice Nick, Music Sanctuary, Adam NC. Hey, good to see you again, brother. Thanks for showing up. Record Hound. Okay, so Michael will be back on in a second. Something's going wrong there. I'll go ahead and continue, though, okay? We just finished talking about the artwork, okay? And the fact that the Rolling Stones had just gotten their own label going. Okay, here's Michael. What do you think, Michael? Can you hear me okay now?
Well, I'm still hearing you over the computer speaker, and that's kind of weird. Never had that before. But
oh, really? Okay. All right. So, we were talking about the cover right now. We talked about how the Rolling Stones had just finally got their own label. Their, Rolling Stones Records. They got rid of the guys, Decca and Decca. Let's see, they had Decca and another one, contacted by Decca. Oh, and London Records. They finally got rid of all of that, and they were down to their own record label. Okay, and then they had the artwork done by Andy Warhol, and his group called The Factory showed a picture of a man in tight jeans, a working zipper open to reveal underwear fabric. The cover was expensive to produce, and it damaged the record. So what they did was they downsized the size of the zipper, and eventually, after they downsized it, they did away with it altogether and just used the actual artwork on the album itself. So I got to show this real quick because I have one of the original artwork here, and I've got the working zipper. Okay, so it's got the working zipper. It's got the perforations around the belt buckle, so the belt buckle can actually open up. Okay, so anyway, so that's what the original looked like. Had a working zipper, causing a little bit too much damage. Okay, so Sticky Fingers was a return to basics for the Rolling Stones. The unusual instrumentation that was introduced several albums prior, was absent. Most songs they went back to the basics. Mick Jagger was, vocals, various percussions and rhythm guitar, Keith Richards, guitar and backing voice, Mick Taylor guitar, Bill Wyman, bass guitar, and Charlie Watts, beloved Charlie Watts, left us a year and a half ago. Of course, was the drums. Of course, there were also additional contributions made by people like keyboardist Billy Preston. He even played a lot with the Beatles, didn't he, Michael? Billy Preston.
Oh yeah.
Everybody loved Billy Preston.
Well,
I was a big fan. I had Billy Preston's solo albums and stuff.
Yeah, Preston made his mark, initially with Little Richard. The Beatles met him back when they were with Little Richard.
Yeah,
and so amazing talent. I'm a big Billy Preston fan,
right?
Especially as a sideman. I wasn't so hot on his solo work all the time.
Right. I remember the one song always pops into my head. That's the way God planned it. That's the way God wanted it to be.
Right.
That was a great song.
Right. I like that one too. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say hi to Dr. Rick.
Sounds really good on this album too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I want to say hi to Dr. Rick and also to James Watson, a couple of new folks that have joined us. But go ahead, Michael.
I was just going to say, he's one of the ultimate sidemen. And,
that's right. That's right.
Picnic. That's
and you know what? One of the people that would join, I've always loved this guy's playing, and it was saxophonist Bobby Keys. Right. There was something about that low, deep sax on so many of these Stone songs that was just. I love saxophone music, and it didn't get any better than hearing him play it. Okay.
Another well-known and excellent session man.
Yeah, and then
more records. You know what, folks? You've heard him hundreds of times. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it goes with the session musicians. They get called in by almost everybody to add tracks, to enhance an album. Okay, so then there was a couple others too. Jack Nitschke and Ian Stewart and Nicky Hopkins. They all contributed. Okay.
The usual suspects.
The usual suspects. Okay, so Sticky.
Well, that crowd, that small crowd that you just mentioned, Royce,
Yeah.
Well, they were always around, the Stones recording,
Right.
you know,
Right.
quite a
Right.
bit. They were almost unnamed Stones.
Unnamed members of the band. Yeah.
Right.
That's exactly right. So Sticky Fingers is considered one of the Rolling Stones' best albums. It's probably number one for me, but there's a lot of good Stones albums. You start listening to them, they move up the scale. That's just how it is with great music. Okay, it was the band's first album to reach number one on both the UK and the US albums charts. Okay, and since has achieved triple platinum in the US. Um, Brown Sugar topped the Billboard 100 in 1971. Sticky Fingers was voted second best album of the year by the Village Voice's annual Critics' Choice. And the album is inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame, included in the Rolling Stone magazine's 500 greatest albums of all time. So a lot of accolades there. People love this album. I love this album. I would probably say this album. Well, you know what? There's some early Stones albums with the Paint It Black and the Ruby Tuesdays and stuff like that on them, and I love those albums too. You know.
Oh, they all have their charms.
Yeah. But I would say the Sticky Fingers I've listened to as much as anything. But there was a period of time where Get Your Yayas Out was my favorite album way back in the day. That's a great live album.
Right.
And some girls came out with a bunch of great songs on it, you know. And there's just so many. Beggar's Banquet, Let It Bleed. But this is a great one right here. Okay, so with the end of the Decca London Association at hand, pretty exciting news, getting rid of these guys. The Rolling Stones were finally free to release their albums, cover art, and all as they pleased. However, their departing manager, Alan Klein, dealt the group a major blow when they discovered that they had accidentally signed over the entire 60s catalog to him.
Oops.
Yeah, Klein and his company ABKCO, which is hell, all of their material from the 63's Come On to Get Your Yayas Out, which I just mentioned, were all in that period owned by ABKCO. So any of the stuff that was being released live for the next decade or so was by ABKCO because he had the rights. Klein had the rights.
Yep.
for decades. So when Decca informed the Stones that they were owed...
You mean he didn't just screw the Beatles, bro?
No, he screwed everybody.
Yeah, he pretty much did, bro.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, it's buyer beware too. I mean, where's these guys' attorneys looking through this stuff and paying attention, you know?
Well, you know, in the Beatles and the Stones cases, it was the upfront money that he could pretty much guarantee them, and a much better percentage.
That's exactly
of
right.
Songwriting royalties.
Right.
That was the bait. And the problem with the bait is once you took it, you were in ABKCO land.
Yes.
You were
and that's
to make him money.
And sadly, that's where they were. Okay. Now this is kind of a trippy story. Okay. So Decca let the Stones know they were owed one more single, not an album. I'm sorry, a single. So the band submitted a track called, and I quote, "Cocksucker Blues," correctly assuming that this would be refused. Decca released the 2-year-old Beggar's Banquet track "Street Fighting Man" instead. And that was a direct quote, okay? That didn't come out of my head. It could have, but anyway, although sessions for Sticky Fingers began in March of 1970, the Rolling Stones had been recording at Muscle Shoals Sound Studio in Alabama in December of '69, okay, where they cut You Gotta Move, Brown Sugar, Wild Horses, Sister Morphine, all cut during the Let It Bleed sessions earlier in March of that year. It's amazing. They're doing, you know, they're making all these extra songs that they held off the Let It Bleed album for the next album. Okay, so they were held over from that release, as I just kind of mentioned. Much of the recording for Sticky Fingers was made with the Rolling Stones' actual mobile studio during that summer and autumn of 1970. Early versions of songs that would eventually appear on Exile on Main Street. That's a great album too. Were also rehearsed during these sessions. Okay. So now we're going to move on a little bit. Sticky Fingers originally included 10 tracks, and both the albums I have, the one with the zipper and a later remastered, both have 10 tracks. So it's more than just the original. It looks like all of them have it. According to Rolling Stones magazine, it is the Stones' most downbeat, druggy album, with new guitarist Mick Taylor stretching into jazz country. And I can hear that a little bit, you know. So let's go back to the artwork, because there was a little more to tell about the artwork, okay? The artwork emphasizes the innuendo of the Sticky Fingers title, showing a close-up of a jean-clad male crotch with the visible outline of a penis. Well, what do you know? That's not too hard to recognize, okay? Let me get the right lighting on it here. Here we go. This is what they're talking about.
I can't see that.
I know. I feel guilty even showing it. Okay. All right. So, but what got kind of interesting, okay, it had the working zipper, perforations around the belt buckle, and yes, that's my original.
Who did they get to, model for that? Was it Robert Plant?
Yeah, all they had to do is still a photograph, right, of any one of his concert appearances. That's exactly right. Okay, so the working zipper, the perforations around the belt buckle, which you had to open to unzip it and open it from the front like that, opened up to. But when you opened it up, it revealed a subcover image of white briefs inside, kind of a gold cast to them. White briefs inside. The vinyl release displayed the band's name and the album title song in the belt. Okay. And that's what I have right here. You've got the band's name and the title song. Which fingers do I use? Right here, or in the belt. Rolling Stone Sticky Fingers right there. Whereas the other releases just had them over on the margin, as you can see right here. Mm-hmm. Let me get this in the right light, damn it. Okay, yeah, they're over on the margin there. Okay. Yeah, I see my background thing is pixelating a little bit. I might have to get rid of that. Okay, so there's white briefs back there. But what's interesting is it's rubber stamped in gold on the white briefs. It says, let's see. Let me see if okay. It says, well, first of all, it says Andy Warhol. But below Andy Warhol in really tiny lettering, it says, this photograph may not be dash, etc. And I'm going to show you that too. Okay. Here's the briefs that are the actual sleeve. And now this is a little harder to see. And yeah, that's you know what? I'm going to get rid of that background. That's not working for me. Bear with me just a minute here, folks. Virtual background, I want none. Okay. I think that'll be better. I think that'll be better. Okay, so right here it says, let's see, Andy Warhol, the bigger lettering right here, and below it is that other statement, where it says this photograph may not be / etc. That's all written there on the band of the briefs. Okay, and of course on the back is the most famous logo in all the world. Only the Rolling Stones, Okay, so the artwork was conceived by Warhol.
I'd like to see just exactly how much they've made the damn logo.
Right. Well, it was conceived by Warhol, but it was kind of turned over to his art team, which consisted of like Craig Braun and his team. They suggested making the cover a giant rolling paper, something that Cheech and Chong had done in Big Bamboo. But Jagger was enthused by Warhol's concept. Oh, that's interesting, right? Warhol duly sent Braun a Polaroid picture of a model in tight jeans. Okay, here's where it gets interesting. You were just asking who that was. And I originally had assumed it was probably Mick Jagger, but I couldn't have been more wrong about that. And so here's Braun and company, the people that put this whole sleeve and stuff together. Here's Braun talking. He says, we manufactured those one-off packages because a lot of conventional suppliers were a bit baffled to how to make them. I'd already done a few of them for people like the Temptations, the Supremes, Joe Cocker, a teen idol named Bobby Sherman, where a band would be selling, but the band had to be selling in sufficient quantities, maybe 1 million plus. Okay, so you knew an initial release by the Stones would be 1 million plus, so you weren't worried about that. So because of that, they were able to put the extra work into the covers and sleeves. So the Stones manager came to me and asked what I could do. And so that's Craig Braun talking. So the photo of the crotch, okay, Michael, the photo of the crotch was assumed by fans to be Mick Jagger, but people involved in this shoot claim Warhol photographed several men, not including Jagger. Jagger wasn't even one of them, okay? And never revealed which shot he used. Among the candidates were Jed Johnson, Warhol's lover at the time, who denied it was him, okay? Although his twin brother, Jay, is a possibility. Those closest to the shoot and subsequent design named factory artist and designer Corey Tipton as the likeliest candidate, but Joe D'Alessandro claimed to have been the model. So I don't know.
And who cares?
Yeah, who cares? It's the last thing I want to dwell on. Okay,
If
so
it's not Mick, who cares? Really?
Right. When retailers
they got the body type for Mick. You know, that's what they were trying to do.
Right.
And
so anyway,
idol, you know,
yeah,
they're related at all.
Right. So the Rolling Stones tongue and lips logo, designed by John Kosh, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, modified by Craig Braun, was introduced in 1971, and we just showed that on the back side of the sleeve. For the initial vinyl release, the album title and the name is smaller and at the top of the American release. Okay, that's what I was talking about. And the UK release, it's in that small little band. Okay, to the left. Okay, the album introduced the tongue and lips logo for the Rolling Stones records. And anyway, there's really not a whole lot more I'm going to say this little opening intro, but I do want to say something I thought was kind of funny. Okay, if you remember General Franco in Spain, who was a fascist, the original cover was censored by the Franco regime, okay, and replaced with a can of fingers. Okay, Sticky Fingers was a can of fingers, right? And Sister Morphine was replaced by a live version of Chuck Berry's Let It Rock. And, this track was later included in a CD compilation of rarities, 1971 through 2003. And that was released in 2005. So if you ever find that Sticky Fingers CD rarities, you'll find a Chuck Berry cover on it, taking the place of Sister Morphine. Okay, because that's what fascists do. Okay, so 1992, the LP was released in Russia. It actually featured a it did have a colorized photograph of the blue jeans with a zipper, but a Soviet Army uniform belt buckle that shows a hammer and a sickle inscribed in a star, and the model appears to be female. I might like that. Okay, so Sticky Fingers was among the 1999 class of Grammy Hall of Fame inductees. According to Acclaimed Music, it is the 53rd most celebrated album in popular music history. In 1994, Sticky Fingers was ranked 10 in Colin Larkin's all-time top 1,000 albums. 10. He stated, "Dirty rock like this has still has to be bettered." In other words, no one's done it better. No one's done the dirty rock better. And there is still no rival in sight, he stated. In a retrospective review, Q Magazine said that this album's assured the Rolling Stones. Well, let me say this over again. Said that the album was the Stones at their assured showboating peak. A magic formula of heavy soul, junky blues, and macho rock captures the Stones' bluesy swagger in a dark land where few dare to tread. Sticky Fingers was listed as number 63, Rolling Stone Magazine's 2003 Rolling Stone Magazine's list of the top 100 list of the top 500, I'm sorry, greatest albums of all times, listed number 63. And later in 2012, it was listed as number 64. So that's it, folks. That's my opening comments on the Rolling Stones Sticky Fingers. Now, Michael, I know you're a big Stones fans too. You don't put them on the same level as some of the other bands you love, but I also know that you're a big fan of them because I've heard you talk about them. So
they're in my rock and roll, Mount Rock Olympus list.
Yes, they are. I've seen it there 3 or 4 times. Yeah.
Yeah. So I am a fan of the Stones. And I this album too for me, Royce, is my favorite album by them. But for a couple of different reasons. I like it because it's almost the defining line. Sure, Mick was there one album earlier.
Right,
Taylor,
right,
yeah.
right.
Oh, but anyway, Taylor was there one album earlier, but this is the first studio album.
Yeah, that's right.
With his arrival as a studio album, it's seminal. I mean, this album, as magical and as wonderful and as great as the Stones were in the 60s, this album announced, like, baby, we're ready for the 70s. And
we're still rolling
to offer you than we've offered before.
Yeah, we're still rolling right along. Absolutely.
Raw, to almost raw silences, to majestic heights.
Right.
Music, tonality wise, all of that. It is clearly as great an album as a lot of people give credit for Hotel California. Brand of a sound.
Yeah, right? the music is way different. It's a matter of preference. I love Hotel California. There's nothing like it, but I mean, I would probably have to put this ahead of it. Sticky Fingers. Sticky Fingers is one of those, like, if I put the CD in any one of my vehicles, it's going to stay in there, not for a couple of days, probably not even for a couple of weeks. It could stay in there for a month or more. And I will listen to it, and I will never get tired of listening to it until at some point I realize it's time to change, or my wife's starting to give me looks like, you ever going to change this now? But she loves the album too. And Wild Horses is one of both of our favorite songs. It's a real sweet song, Wild Horses.
Yeah.
And I want to mention, I just put up a link. If someone would like to come on and have some fun with us here, co-hosting, I've got a link up here.
Yeah.
And just hit the link and jump aboard. I know Dan's here, and Dan's been absent for a while. We look forward to the return of the mighty Dan.
Yes.
And I know Caitlin's in there, and anybody else. If anybody wants to hop aboard, hey, hit that link that's showing right at this very moment.
Come on up, y'all.
I love the Rolling Stones. They've got to be. There's no way I could take them out of my top 5. Rock bands of all time. They would have to be. I don't know how I could take them out of the top 5.
They wouldn't go quite that high for me, Royce. But like I said, in the top 13, and the only reason, for that,
sure,
is, I like, it's like my list. If you notice it, you've got the world's greatest pop rock band, then you have the world's greatest 70s band and heavy rock band, Led Zeppelin. Then you have the wonderful, magical Deep Purple. Then you have Yes. Then you have Police. See, all of these were so different of statements than what we saw with the Beatles and the Stones in the 60s. They just kind of, for me, in my heart.
No, I hear you. It's there's so many good bands out there. Dan Goucher says he thinks Goat's Head Soup is near classic. I think it is a classic, and you know what? I have that album, and I love the inner sleeve too, with the goat's head in the
Oh, that
Pot
was
of
a great
soup.
show. Yeah.
And I actually even considered doing that tonight. It was actually the first thing that popped into mind because we've been looking at it lately. And but I thought, no. When it comes to the classic Stone albums, it's got to be. If this is the first one I'm going to do in a series, it's got to be Sticky Fingers.
Oh yeah.
And I haven't really decided that it's going to be a series yet because I've been working on the Beatles. There's a couple of biggies that I would like to. We've been joined by Caitlin. How are you, Kate?
How you doing?
Hi, Michael.
Good to see you, Kate.
Got us
You too, my friend.
A giant T up here.
Well,
Now, hey, Dan says he doesn't want to come on because he's in his underwear. And my answer to you was, did you see the underwear I was just showing? Underwear are part of the show tonight.
no, I think I missed it on purpose. No,
Well, here.
wait. No,
Well, here, I'll show you. I'll show you again.
No, I'm good.
I hear you. So
you're
anyway,
blinded me, so you're good.
There's still 2 or 3 Beatles albums I'd like to go through again. Not again, but go through. And one of them, of course, is Abbey Road. And
Dan, I don't mean that.
And Rubber Soul and Help, because I'm lucky enough to have the UK Parlophone version of Help.
Yes, we did.
So I'd like to go through those 3 Beatles albums, but I may not do that consecutively like I have done over the past I think 5 weeks. I may skip around with some other shows and then pull one in. And I may do the same thing with the Stones here.
Mm.
The Music Sanctuary, what he was saying, oh man, we had the music back then.
Oh man, did we ever? Did I miss that comment?
Yeah, if you weren't there, you put it up. I only read the ones you put up. Because of how I'm set up. But
yeah. I'm the same way if I'm on someone else's show. I don't get to see the live chat.
Right.
Actually, sometimes I do, and I'm not sure how it differs.
Well, I've never been able to see the live
Hi,
chat.
Jeff.
Got it set up, but that's fine. I try and catch up with what you put up here. So.
Okay. Yeah, I know I missed a whole lot of the chat comments. I like to put as many as I can up. Hi, Jeff Davidson. How you doing, buddy?
Hi, Jeff.
Caitlin's been waiting for you.
No, I'm not. I'm not that desperate. We're good.
Satisfaction was summer of '65. And Manav, you're absolutely right, because you know what? We were walking around singing that in junior high school. Can't get no satisfaction.
What a riff.
Yeah. Oh my God. Wasn't that played on the acoustic guitar, Michael, that riff?
Boy, I wouldn't have guessed that. I'm not that familiar with the recording.
Okay. I'll have to check that out again.
Song, but,
hi, Steve. Okay.
Sounds electric to me, but I'll tell you.
It sounds very electric to me too.
Right to your brain.
I know. Yeah.
Thank you, Dan, because I have one in my fantasy football leagues, one of the receivers.
Yeah.
So anyway, we've been having fun with all the shows. I really didn't expect Yellow Submarine to do the same that maybe the White Album, Revolver, and some of the others have done, because it is ranked number 13 out of 13. But I thought it was a very fun show nonetheless, and very interesting. And I really want to get the updated version of Yellow Submarine that includes just strictly Beatles songs, all those wonderful tracks they added. What an amazing compilation that is. Do you have that, Michael?
What's that?
The other version, alternate version of Yellow Submarine album that's got strictly Beatles songs on it.
Oh,
I'll take it off other albums, but
because it was mixed to represent the movie, and that's why it's the superior album, and that's why they should just trash the original version and bring that version in. And
love you, Angela.
This time, slap A Day in the Life on that version, so
yeah.
that you have all the songs in the cartoon. It wraps the movie finely and nicely in with the movie as a complete package, and it is a far far, far, far superior album. Right
Oh,
now,
yeah,
it ranks
yeah.
number 13 on my list. If that version was
Was
canon, it'd be up on like 6 or 7.
I agree with that.
7.
There's so many great songs on it, but it would be
Yeah.
it would be just a compilation album, which is okay because that's pretty much
I
what
don't
the
I don't
original
think
is.
so, Royce. I
No?
think that it's more than a compilation album. I think it's a rectification of a mistake.
Okay,
It
that's
is
different. Yeah.
fully tied
You know what?
to the movie.
Okay.
Sorry.
Whether the Beatles liked that movie or not at the time, it
Right,
was
right.
their official product.
Yeah, you know, it's a fun movie. You can't not like it. Um, there's some things I might there's some things I might recommend you do in advance. You know, like my wife likes to take these THC gummies with CBN in them. It's a sleep aid, and they really put her to sleep too. And I will have to admit that we shared one when we watched that, and oh my God, it's crazy. But it was a lot of fun to watch. It was a lot of fun to watch. I think that movie's great. I'm going to watch it again real soon. It's just hard to take it all in one sitting. So anyway, guys,
I agree.
Michael
had a big stamp on rock and roll. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, yeah. Who would you put? Let's say top 3 Rolling Stone albums. What would you think?
Ooh.
I know that's hard.
Yeah, it is.
Very hard.
Yeah.
Kate,
Pardon me, Alan.
Yeah, I haven't given it enough thought. I'd have to think about it.
You know, honestly, I'd have to sit down and listen to all my Stones albums again.
Yeah.
You know,
Same.
Yeah.
because I've had.
I mean, as soon as I say a list and then don't put Exile on Main Street, I'll listen
Right.
to that and go, God darn it! I should have.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I dared to put Bridges to Babylon as high as number 3, or even as a honorable mention, I would be crucified. Right.
That's a great album.
But
Yeah.
that was their last great album.
Yeah.
I have high hopes for this new one.
Yeah. You know what? If it's anything like the first song, Angry, Hackney Diamonds. Hackney Diamonds is a slang for broken glass.
Right.
In kind of the more downtrodden areas it came from out of England.
Yep.
Out of London. So anyway, so
I love Angry.
I do too. I think it's much better than the single they released a few months back. Although that was a good record too, a good song.
Wait a minute! Living in a Ghost Town, I love them both equally.
Oh, my God, you?
I was so disappointed that
they didn't put that on the album.
On this album,
right?
You know, it should be. They promised us that. Right?
Oh, okay. I wonder what happened.
Yeah. Well, they said this is the single to our upcoming album. That's how they introduced the damn thing. You know?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you guys think of Jeff Davidson's list? He's got Sticky Fingers, Let It Bleed, and Some Girls.
That's actually a solid list.
That's a solid list. I mean, you know,
for me, it's got to be Emotional Rescue. The whole album is just fantastic because I'm like a huge fan of how the Rolling Stones bringing a little bit of that funk.
Okay, listen. Man of Many Voices has, you know, Banquet, Bleed, and Sticky
Exile's
Fingers.
number 2 on my list.
Beggar's Banquet, Let It Bleed, and Sticky Fingers, with Exile closely following up.
Oh,
that's a good list too.
Yep.
That's a good list, Manav. Sticky Fingers, Some Girls, Exile on Main Street.
Yeah,
Exile Main Street's number 2 on my list.
Part of the problem for me to make a list is there are especially, you know, Sticky Fingers is easy. That's number 1 for me. That's my number 1 Stones album. Probably many people will choose that too.
Yeah,
no big surprise, right?
Yeah.
You know, here's the contrarian. You know, I like Sticky Fingers.
Right.
No shit. You know, but anyway, but the album's just preceding it, and the album's right after. It's such an interesting blend of a time, and who do you choose, and what do you choose, and what mood are you in when you choose?
Yeah. Okay. We're losing people.
Yeah,
Gaining.
sorry about that.
Hey, Nick.
I know it's
Nick. Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Nick?
I'm well. How y'all doing?
Good to
Good.
see you. Good to see you.
Love the Stones.
What 3 Stones albums would you rank as the top?
Sticky Fingers, Beggar's Banquet, Some Girls.
Yeah, I can't argue with that list at all. I really love Some Girls.
Yeah. Someone already mentioned those 3 just before you got on. Nick.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
A noble list.
yeah,
A noble,
I think so.
noble list. Yeah.
Well, they had special times in life that they hit you. And,
Yeah, that's exactly right.
they're kind of engraved in that portion of your world and your life at that time. And
That's very true. Yeah.
You'd have to extract part of your brain to lose the album.
That's right. Good point. Brain extraction for sure.
Especially if it's emblazoned while you're still in freaking high school.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or
If
like
it's part of your DNA.
Like I was mentioning in junior high, we were listening to Satisfaction. I mean, that just played like nothing else ever played.
Yeah.
Nothing played before it. It played continuously.
Yeah, that's a good album. It's a good song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah.
The
Have you seen the YouTube video of the Stones signing the old country song "Bob Willis is Still the King"? It's great.
I'm not familiar with that.
Singing
Steve.
the old country song. I'm not familiar with that either, Steve. And anyway, by the way, good to see you here, Steve. We always
Hi,
appreciate
Steve.
you showing up.
Your Vikings look pretty decent.
I'll take a look at that, Steve. I haven't seen it.
I need to look at it. I'll probably look it up tomorrow while working.
Yeah, that would be good. I want to look that up too.
Yeah, the Emotional Rescue album, Exile, and Some Girls are my top 3 as well.
That's so
nice.
funny. It's just like every single list.
You
can't not agree with every single list.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you see?
I haven't
2 weeks?
seen that one yet. Have you?
No.
Yeah.
Well, listen. They say that Hackney Diamonds is going to be out in October, and if Hackney Diamonds is out in October, I hope it's so good. First album in 18 years. I hope it's so good. We're having the same conversation, and that's been included in the top 3. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be good.
October 20th, by the way.
Pardon me?
It's out October 20th.
Oh, October 20th. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Are they going to release any of it streaming beforehand?
Angry. Just angry.
Are you sure that's all they're going to do? My guess would be they might sneak another one out, but I don't know.
Right now, it's just angry. So
they don't want to give it all
away. They're going to get a huge portion of sales just because it's the Stones, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
There's those completists that are out there.
Very true. Yeah.
It'll be a real nice bonus if they get at least one hit off the album.
Yeah.
Right.
And
right.
it'll be nice if it's a good compilation. Remember the old days? Old albums were meant to be played from album and song 1, album side 1, straight through side 2 to the last track.
Yeah.
All the way to the
last track.
That's how you played a record. I mean, that's nowadays I'll buy one from item 2, one from item 3, and I'll take that one too.
Yeah.
That's
right.
not listening to the artist. That's just picking candy.
Oh man, Nick.
Right.
You're so right about that. I've often said this too. Is the truly great albums?
Yeah.
They're masterpieces. They're pieces of art, and they should be experienced from cut 1 to end cut. And that's how I listen. I've got there are like probably 100 albums at least on my list that I will not listen to the material on those albums on any playlist. If it's on the radio, I turn it off, because when I do listen to them, I want to be impressed yet one more time. And guess what? They impress me, man.
Yeah.
Right.
And another thing is, even the artists are messing up albums because they're no longer doing that. The market's pushing them that way, but they're not pushing it so it's one song intentionally leads into the next because the next one after it is meant to be third. You know, they're just not doing that. Now, not all artists did that, mind you,
Right.
but the truly great ones knew exactly what they were doing.
Right. Well, you know, it's kind of like you can tie that into the Rubber Soul story. None of the material was connected to any of the other material. It was all stuff they wrote and recorded within about a month, and it all sounds related.
Flukes happen when you're
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, they would try and turn Revolver into the same sounding kind of thing in the United States, because that was, that was what they were going for, was a sound that connected the material. And the truly great albums have that. You know, I can't think of how many wonderful. Everybody complains about how the Moody Blues were recorded, and yes, there's some truth to that, but what a magnificent set of awful recordings. That's all I can say. You know?
Yeah. Well, you know, James Watson said, no Between the Buttons love. I have Between the Buttons, and I actually love that album. I think it's a great album. Yeah.
For sure.
Of course, Beggar's Banquet.
I had a great joy. One of the few great joys in music is I had a friend of mine got his son was 5 years in between seeing him. Now he's just getting into Zeppelin and, you know, some hard rock and all this. He's playing guitar. He's 17. He's at that age. And the only reason they diverted from Florida on the way to Colorado to stop here was to stop and listen to Led Zeppelin 1 and Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. And when that young man got done listening to those two albums on my tube setup, we were walking out to the truck and they were leaving. He says, I just didn't know how good it was. And yes, I mean, that was like, wow. I mean, what a great compliment, you know. Not only
I love it. I love that
he enjoyed it and could hear into the depths of it and listen to it the way it was supposed to be. And he said it inspires him to learn it even better.
Well, man, that's one of the best. You know, I hear stories in the comments on my channel, but Nick, that's one of the best stories I have heard. You know, that's
a great story, Nick.
So good, man.
Yeah, I have one more like that. My nephew, he says my favorite song in the world, and I forget which one it is. It's a Led Zeppelin song, and he came and listened to it, and he obnoxiously told me thanks a lot. I'm like, what's the matter? He said, you ruined my favorite song. I can never listen to it again. Thanks a whole lot. Of course, until he comes to visit again. I got a thrill out of that. I said, that's funny. Lord. He said, this is my favorite song and you just ruined it. He said, I didn't know the depth of the sound and the emotion and the feeling. You know, I mean, tubes and vinyl just does so much. Yeah. So that was, it's always such a joy when somebody comes by and listens to music as if it's the first time they ever heard it.
Yes.
You know, I got a comment on what Manny's saying right here about, he says Led Zeppelin's first album was their greatest and they never had a better one after that. You know, you're not all by yourself feeling that way. I was going to a high school, trade school, junior college combination my last 2 years of high school. So I was out in Vegas with all the Vegas guys, all us long-haired leaping gnomes. And I tell you, when Led Zeppelin 2 came out, so many people were, it's okay, but it's a sellout. They just now they're just trying to make money. You know, it's a sellout.
And boy, did they make money.
Yeah. And then when Led Zeppelin 3 came out, almost, you know, while I was still there in high school, almost everybody I knew couldn't stand it. All Led Zeppelin fans that loved 1 and even loved 2 come to love 2, but they did not like 3 at all. I ran out immediately and bought the CD. I was so excited. And I was playing it on my way to school and back. And afterwards, when I went out at night after having dinner, hook up with my buddies. I was playing it all the time, and it actually took me several playthroughs. Then it started to click with me, and now I'm a big fan of it. And I think that happened to a lot of people. He got a slow start, but I think it's like 7 times platinum right now.
Yeah, and
Right.
the bonus about that. I'm sorry, Michael.
No, that's all right. I just said yeah.
The bonus about that
I
is how
just
they rewrote how rock and roll was spread around the world. It said, no buses. No, we're getting the plane. We're doing this right. You don't write the contract. We're writing the contract. They rewrote it all.
Yeah. Oh
Kind
yeah.
of like more modern Prince did the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
So it just
Yeah.
Well,
Everybody say hi to my
time.
friend. Say hi to my friend Groovy Lisa here.
Lisa.
I finally get to meet you. Hey, Groovy Lisa.
Yeah, Lisa has a fun show. I've been going to it every chance I get. I think we're there a couple of times within the last week.
Nice,
And I see her on other shows as well. But anyway, always a lot of fun to be around Groovy Lisa. Go check her show out. You're gonna love it.
Let me. I got the memory of a gnat, so I'm going to write that down. Everybody, your homework is to write down Groovy Lisa.
Nat.
And when you
Go visit her site and like it and subscribe, please.
and while you're on your way there or shortly thereafter, I want you to stop at Novice Nick's, who is directly below Michael Nolan, if you didn't already know that, and like and subscribe to Novice Nick's channel.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm working on getting there. As you might see, I've purchased a mic, lighting. I'm working on getting my gear set up so I can actually. The only thing now I can't buy or manufacture is time.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Well, in your profession, Nick, my grandfather owned restaurants for decades, closed them, because he was a moving kind of man,
Right.
Yeah. He, born in Oklahoma and just couldn't sit still. But he always, and your restaurant, I've listened to you every time, whether you're talking on Rachel's Ghost or on another stream.
Yeah.
You always talk about the business and everything. And you fascinate me because I spent time with my grandfather in his restaurants at periods of times over the years. One he had in Pennsylvania. And you know what? I totally respect your chosen field of work, brother.
It's tough.
Gig.
The only thing that could possibly make it tougher is to do it with your family, and that's and that's what we do. This past week,
that's how he did it too.
Yeah, this past week was a test from my good Lord, and hopefully I passed it. But it was a test, I'll tell you.
Wow. I want to mention Groovy Lisa's got a comment up right now. What do we think of the new Rolling Stones song? Well, shortly before you came on, we were talking about how we all love that damn song, Angry.
Yeah.
On
now I've heard some chat
Hackney Diamonds
on other streams that, well, it's okay, but it's not quite, they're not dissing it, but it's like an also rant, and I'm going, I mean, it's not like Satisfaction how it hit you back in the day, but this is top grade Rolling Stones.
No.
Yeah. Would we get a mark for playing it since they're trying to get it out?
Yeah. Well, I've listened to it 3 times, and I liked it the first time, and each time I listen to it, I like it even better. I think it's going to be a great song.
In my opinion, it does bring back like the like the older rock sound that they started with. That's what I liked about it. It had
like that too.
It had that vibe, that nostalgic vibe people want to hear.
Yeah.
Right. When you listen to it in the headphones, it's got that twin guitar sound.
I know. Yeah.
I believe it's Ronnie's.
I love it.
Is in your left ear primarily. And, Keith's guitar is in your right ear primarily. And Mick right in the center. And it's got the stage lineup. That's how, if you're close enough to any stage and you're close enough to hear the individual amps, that's how you would hear it. I love it. It's mixed supremely.
I have a question.
Sounds great.
I'm most likely the only one on YouTube that has not heard it yet.
Oh, that's
yeah.
okay.
I just
It's
haven't
okay.
had time. That's
Yeah.
one of
Hey,
those
that's
things
right.
I'll listen to at the restaurant when I go in tomorrow if I have time. But today was nothing but spinning records.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't
you're
get
good.
enough time.
I have those days, you know.
Yeah,
Dan,
Same.
the tubes have been
Anyway,
burning. Let's see. Yesterday was 10 hours, and today was about 6. So it's
Good
been a
Lord.
great
wow.
weekend. Yeah,
yeah.
and it's gotten warm in here.
Well,
But
Dan Goucher just made a great statement here because we've been making, I know I've been making the same statement. It's like Led Zeppelin's album posed the same dilemma as the first 6 Sabbath albums. The rankings always changing. And that's how I feel too, you know.
Yeah.
my question
I've
now,
changed up my Led Zeppelin rankings. I've had 1 at the top for a long period of time. Then no. I put 2 at the top. Then it was 4 at the top, and
that's the beautiful thing about music.
yeah.
There's like some jazz. I'm like, well, how could you really like that? And then a couple weeks later, I'll put it on
He
again.
is
I'm like,
awesome.
well, I can see this. And then after about a month, I'm like, hey, this is really good. You kind of grow and change. But my question about the
Yeah.
Stones and Angry, does it have any of the roots of the blues involved in it?
No.
They did a lot of bluesy.
Yeah.
Well, it's power rock, so bluesy based on power rock.
Right. Okay.
Rock.
No,
Yeah.
no, we're talking about Angry here, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
from
Angry.
Hackney Diamonds.
Okay.
I feel like I can hear a blues bass.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
I can hear a little bit of it, not a whole bunch, just a little bit of it.
Right. That's that kind of in the beginning. I always packed it up like it was a background kind of thing. It wasn't up front, but you could feel it if you were looking for it.
Right.
I'll tell you one thing. Mick sounds great on it. His voice sounds strong. I was surprised by that because that was the first thing I was listening for. Because he's getting up in age too.
AI.
Paul's
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
Paul
Yeah, no, his voice is. That's good.
It's great.
That's great.
It's a great vocal performance.
Yeah,
Yeah, without a doubt.
Hey, Groovy Lisa, I just wanted to thank you. And I saw you today on Dusty Spin's stream. And Dusty does a good job. He's very knowledgeable.
Dusty's awesome.
People should check out Dusty Spins also.
He's a very nice person.
A very nice person. Yeah.
Very kind. Yeah.
Yeah. Unlike us crude son of a bitches,
Well, I mean, it's not always fun to behave,
Oh, I know. It's not always fun.
It gives me migraines to behave. Kidding me?
Right.
Too much effort.
Yeah, it's absolutely stressful. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Mercy.
Anyway, the chat's going off as usual. I love the chat because so many great people here. Look at that. Davey Strange name. The Stones song is terrible. The drums should sound like Charlie Watts. They don't. 2 out of 10.
Well,
that's interesting.
Well, I'm going to chime in with that. Actually, somebody brought it up to me on my stream because James and I were talking about on Friday, and somebody brought it up to me. Said the drummer, what's that, Jordan Taylor? I believe that's his name.
Right.
He was handpicked. The drummer on that track was handpicked by Charlie Watts.
By Charlie Watts, yes, he was.
Yeah, to kind of like as like a replacement or so forth. So Charlie Watts knew him before his death.
And liked his style.
Yeah.
And
obviously
are basic, but here's what I got, Bud, was that they were purposefully played that basic so that twin guitar sound was the interesting movement rhythmically. That's what I got. Now, if all we get throughout the rest of the album is the same drum approach, then
my bad.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, it's always tough when a key member. I mean, look what John Bonham dying did to Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the end of it. He was just too big of a part of the sound. I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you how many times I'll focus on just the drums when I'm listening to Led Zeppelin. I mean, I do that with other parts of the music as well, but oftentimes I find myself just wanting to focus on just the drums, and I'm always just completely blown away.
Well, yeah.
Well, it's almost to the
John
point
and
where how
Mick
can you not
Fleetwood
focus on it?
and Collins, those three they put on a show behind the drum kit.
Oh yeah. Well, you know,
Yeah.
Dan's asking me if I ever buy any Stones boots. I wanted Beatle boots, but I wasn't actually even aware. No, they were really popular. I took my dad finally goes, "Well, let's go take a look," because I've been bugging him for months. All my friends had them. We get down to the shoe store, we walk up to the window, and I pointed them out. I thought I had them. Why is he asking me to go down and take a look? And I pointed them out to him, and he goes, "I'm not buying you those fairy boots."
You should have just told Royce. You could have just
I
told
thought you were talking about bootlegs.
Boots, Dad.
What? Nick.
I was the only kid in school that ever got Beatle boots. But anyway, so I'm not even sure what Stones boots are.
I thought you were
No,
talking
wait, I
about
was going to say,
bootleg
what, they're
recordings.
stone boots? I'm like,
Have you guys heard of Stones boots?
no.
No.
No. I've seen some tennis shoes and stuff with the lips and tongue on it.
Yeah, say, but
Well,
boots?
yeah.
I'm like,
That's a cash grab.
That's a cash grab, yeah.
Now the Rolling Stones are a clothing empire. Are you kidding me?
Yep. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I mean, right.
Right. That's right, Novice. That's
I'm
right.
all for American enterprise. There's no problem with that.
Yeah, true enough.
As long as they are the owners of their own ship.
Look, I got one. I got one right here hanging on one of my sound absorbers.
oh,
Oh, there you go. Nice.
yeah, I got my stone
That's a
shoe on
nice,
my new one.
shirt.
Thank you. Yeah, I have an absorber right here because it's a sharp, hard surface. So I just put it here in the corner and I draped it with a Stones t-shirt. Got the
There you
Beatles
go.
over there.
Yeah, I've got a couple of Stones t-shirts. Only one that I bought at the concert though, and that was at Bridges to Babylon in I think it
Oh,
was
that's right. You told me about
97 or 9. It's actually the list of concert
I really don't know.
venues and dates are on the back of the t-shirt, and it was in Portland, Oregon, the second time I'd seen the Stones.
That was the only kind of shirt I ever got from the Stones was the Bridges to Babylon t-shirt.
Yeah. Oh, no kidding. You
Yeah.
got that too. I have the hat too. It's kind of a reddish corduroy or something like that.
Wow.
Stone is loved muddy waters is how.
No. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Muddy. I had,
Yes, they really did. They loved them both.
Yeah.
In fact, I've got an album that I recently found, and it was a club back east someplace that Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters and some of the others frequented and went in there. And the Stones were on tour and they had to go to that club. They went down there and did a little singing and stuff with them.
Yeah, I got a little story about Mick learning to play the harmonica. You know where he learned? He learned from Little Walter. You know who Little Walter was?
Little Walter.
Yes, Little Walter was the first man to take a microphone and a harmonica and put them together and play the harmonica.
No, I didn't know. I didn't know he was the first. I didn't know that.
He was the first. Yeah, I was co-chair of a festival here. There was the Little Walter Music Festival.
Okay.
And we had his only surviving descendant, his daughter, would come to the concert every year. I have posters all over the place here about it. So anyway, we hired Muddy Waters' son, one of his sons that followed in his footsteps. And I'll tell you, he's every bit a showman and can sing almost that much different from his father.
Wow.
Incredibly generous, sweet person.
Nice.
Put on a show like his father would be proud.
Wow.
And funny. Oh my, he was a blast. But but yeah, he was a lot of fun. We were in a auditorium and the lights weren't all the way up. He was pretty dark like his father, and somebody came and said, "I want a picture. Can I have a picture with you?" And he said, He said, honey, he said, it's so dark in here. I'm blue black. You ain't going to get a picture of me in here. There's no lights. and he had the whole place roaring. And he was just so fun. But when he sang, wow. All you had to do was close your eyes and his father was on the stage. And,
Wow.
it was a lot
Wow.
of fun. We did that for about 7 years. And
You know,
Yeah.
I had a similar experience. There was a tribute to Jimi Hendrix concert that went around for a couple of years with maybe the greatest living guitar players were all there. You know, I mean, Jeff Beck played and Buddy Guy, and
yeah.
I mean the list went on and on. But the
Right.
one that I enjoyed all of them, but one that I really enjoyed was Ernie Isley, and he goes, yeah, when Jimmy lived with us for about 4 years, he played with my dad's band, the Isley Brothers, and he did. But what was funny, he goes, you know, Jimmy gave me guitar lessons when I was a little kid.
Wow.
And when you close your eyes, it was Jimi Hendrix playing. You know,
Wow, that's yeah.
I mean this concert, and I got to see it twice. It had Joe Satriani, Eric Johnson. I mean, you know, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, Johnny Lang.
Yeah, we
I mean,
hired Kenny.
any great guitar player you could think of the last 25 years was, you know, and the lineup did change a little bit. You know, I saw it at the Arlington Theater in Santa Barbara, and then our local blues festival, which is held at Avila Beach every year, the Blues Festival. It actually headlined there again. You know,
Wow.
yeah, it was just a great set of shows. But anyway, so Groovy Lisa said she still needs Goat's Head Soup, Tattoo You, Let It Bleed, Sticky Finger. The only one I don't have in that group, Lisa, is Tattoo You. I've got the other three.
Yeah,
There's an
But,
album
but I'm
called
missing a
Goat's
whole.
Head
I
Soup.
need Goat's Head. There's a couple I still need.
Oh, there's a lot I still need.
I had-
There's a
I
there's
had
a
a-
big there's
I
a
had
big
Sticky
catalog
Fingers.
there.
I had
Oh,
a Sticky
okay.
Fingers with a zipper, and I had bought it, and it had a skip on it, and it skipped where it wouldn't. If it skipped forward, I would have kept it.
Okay, kept skipping back.
Was that
Yeah.
one of the originals that had the actual zipper?
Yep.
Because
It
that was known to damage the actual vinyl. They
Yes.
had to shrink the tab on the zipper
Yeah.
to combat that. So
Shrink
that might
it.
be worth something if you
Yeah,
know,
and then-
but
those, you
At
know?
Yeah.
at the time, what he wanted for it, and what I really, you know,
Well,
it's,
you know-
it's like some of these $150 pressings.
Yeah, the
Yeah, they're great and they're
very
wonderful.
first Zipper album I
So
saw
Yeah.
was downtown at Traffic Records.
Stop that, Caitlin.
I'm sorry. I can't believe he did it. It's his fault.
You've got such a-
Downtown at Traffic
Yeah,
Records.
I don't know what you're talking
And
about.
it was
You must be
something
very
like
delusional, Michael. It's okay.
they wanted $129 for it, and I pulled it out. I pulled the vinyl out, you know, in front
Whatever.
of the guy that worked there, and he
You
says
pulled what out?
the vinyl. Anyway, let's forget about it.
Whipped it out.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
so I whipped out the vinyl on the Sticky Fingers.
Show us that zipper again, Royce.
You know, if
Hey,
I'm
you
on the
can't
stream,
do
you're gonna
that.
have fun. You
Shame
know
on
that,
you,
right?
Michael. Shame on you, sir.
Hey, you started this, Caitlin.
Yeah, it's you.
Hey, oh my
Hey.
God, this chat is going so fast. I'm so far behind right now.
I swear to God, Caitlin, you could be a cousin to me. You are so. I swear to God.
We're all cousins, though.
Yeah, we basically, yeah.
Yep. All family,
Oh.
that's for sure. But so we had one of the concerts. We had 7 harmonica players on stage.
That's right, Sean. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nick.
That's okay. And it was one of the most fascinating, crazy. You know, we've all seen the guitarists get up there, and there's 7 of them. They're playing, and then the other one goes, and then the other one goes. Harp is a different world. We had harpists from Japan that were on tour. We were on the Chicago.
Butterfield. Yeah.
We were on the Chicago, Memphis, Mississippi connection. Our little town. It was amazing. We were part of the people wanted to come here, not because we paid the most, but because we showed them the respect and the hospitality that was
Right.
deserved. And
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
one of the guys came in, special diet, landed at 11 o'clock at night. We're a sleepy little town, but I mean, the whole parish is 130,000 people. Okay,
Wow.
so we're not a lot of people. So he lands at 11:30 at night. Where can we go eat? And we all looked at each other and almost busted out laughing. It's like, no, you're not. He just flew in from, I think, Los Angeles or something, you know, town that never sleeps. I'm like, I got keys to a restaurant. You tell me what you want, I'll go make it.
There you go.
I'll bring it to the hotel. Don't you worry about it.
Dan
Hospitality.
Dan Goucher, I honestly can say I'm not sure how I would rate Pretty Things. Anybody got any comments on that? You know, the story you just told about somebody flying in late,
Yeah.
that was me and my friends. We moved from Las Vegas, where it was 24 hours a day. You leave your house 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. There's lots of things still open.
Oh, yeah.
But we moved to Long Beach, California. We're sitting in a motel room staring out at Long Beach Boulevard, and it's a long strip. And there was the only thing on was at 6 o'clock in the evening, time of year. It was after dark already.
Yeah.
The only thing on was the street lights. Everything was off. We were just sitting there with our mouths open, like, what? Where the hell are we? You know?
Yeah.
It's like the dark. It's like the dark side of the moon. Where's all the action
Yeah.
at?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now I have to say, it didn't take us long to find more action than we wanted.
Well, I'm sure of that. Yeah, it's not a long drive. Yeah, I
No,
I
it's
grew up
not a
in the
long
suburbs
drive,
of a
that's
big
right.
city, you know, but I live out in the country. I enjoy it thoroughly, you know, but of course, it's a stage of your life, you know.
Oh, I agree, Jeff. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I have that. I have
I'm
that
not-
album. I have that
I'm
album. It's
not
good.
inner city kind of material at all.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
lived and worked in the inner city, San Francisco,
I do.
for periods of my life. I can function in it. When I was younger, found a bit of excitement to it, but yeah, you know, you get
Well-
past 100,000 in population, I start losing interest.
Well,
You
when
know?
when I first moved to the Southern Nevada area, of course, I was a little kid with my parents. Henderson, the town just on the outskirts of Vegas where we lived, had like 15,000 people, and Vegas had like 160,000 people.
Right.
It only grew once people heard I left.
Coast is clear.
The coast is
Right.
clear.
Look,
Yeah.
30 years ago, I moved away from 6 million neighbors. And it was a good thing.
Hey, Bill K. I just want to say I went and watched your video, that train or caboose today, and the comments were turned off. I wanted to leave you a comment and I couldn't. I love those train videos you put on. They're a lot of fun. Yeah, Bill K. here. He lives
Another good friend.
up in Northern California. Pardon me, Caitlin?
Another good friend.
Yeah, another good friend. Yeah.
There's a YouTuber.
Yeah, wasn't it, Bill? You're from what, like up in the Ukiah area?
Yeah. I'm not. I don't know if it's Ukiah. It's.
I think it might have been.
But yeah, it's up. Yeah, totally up the California coast. You know.
Yeah, beautiful country.
Beautiful country.
My backyard. You know, anything up to that area, down to the city, man.
Right.
It's traipsing grounds. You know.
Yeah, there's a
Wait,
YouTuber.
we got to go
that
back to
has-
this.
No, pass it.
in Europe.
Pass it. Pass it. I saw you pass it. And don't you dare
what's
go back.
wonderful is we're gonna get to rewind it and watch it all.
No.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to my buddy Dusty Spins.
Dusty.
I was over watching his show today, and believe me, Sunday's not an easy day for me to watch shows because I have a lot to do in addition to prepare for my own show. So,
Right.
but I did get away and I got to watch Dusty Spin's show and enjoyed it as always. And thanks, buddy. I think everybody needs to go check your channel out.
He's
I know
awesome,
they're
guys.
Yeah, he really is. He's a great guy.
Mhm.
Does a really good job, and you're going to like it. You're going to want to subscribe to it. And while I'm on the subject of subscribing, I just want to say that,
That's
hey,
serious.
yeah, that's really a serious topic. My show's been growing. I'm getting close to knocking at the door on 1,000 subscribers, and that's
Yeah.
a real milestone for a YouTube channel.
Yeah, it
And
is.
I'm in the mid-8s right now, but I've been adding a lot lately. And I just want to encourage everybody, if you like the channel, if you like watching, please give subscribing a shot, because it doesn't cost anything. Nothing changes. You just keep watching. The only thing is, it helps my show to grow. It encourages me to keep it going. And if you can hit that thumbs up down below, that like button, that does something that's really important to a growing show too.
Yeah.
It tells the algorithm that people like your show. So when people start searching for content, I want to learn about the Rolling Stones, I want to learn about Led Zeppelin, I want to learn about, they start typing things that are kind of similar to your content, you have a really good chance of being recommended as a show to them to watch. And then that just continues to feed it, and help the show to grow. So anyway, subscribers or not, you're all welcome. There's 268 videos now available for you all to watch. But my analytics show me that half my viewers aren't yet subscribers. So if you don't mind, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it.
These two gentlemen right here have a wealth of knowledge to share, and they're generous enough to do so, that you need to at least check them out. Absolutely. And
Nick,
subscribe.
thank you for those kind words.
Seriously, guys, check them out. You won't regret it.
Yeah.
I'd like to add boast one thing. I just recently logged in, and I'm checking out Instagram. Novice Nick. I just put Novice Nick up today. I had my business name and a couple other, and I said, if I'm going to expand and put some time into this, I better put it under my YouTube name. So
There you go. Smart move.
Yep. So instead of my business and all that. And I'll tell you what, I came into this computer age of all this old and not have time to do it. And just trying to do it for the business takes a boatload of time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
I know.
We've all had to learn through the learning curve and everything. I'm still learning.
That's true.
And it's funny, my family will look at me
definitely.
and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing? You're playing on the computer." I'm like, "Do you want to do it? Please."
I think we all get some of that.
Yeah.
Especially if it's YouTube.
Yeah.
But Groovy Lisa is right, and I've heard so many jokes about this. Keith Richards is going to outlive us all and the cockroaches.
Yeah,
he's the only thing a nuclear bomb can't kill. Keith Richards.
That's right.
Cockroaches.
What kind of world are we going to leave for Keith Richards?
Yeah, right.
Hey, Royce, you know
got to
what?
worry about that.
I just talked to my wife about this yesterday, and I told her that Keith Richards is the embodiment. This is my new theory, folks. All right, Keith Richards is Dorian Gray personified, and his face is the painting that should be hiding in the closet. Right? He's guaranteed eternal life.
Eternal life.
But the face just goes. You know what I mean?
Right.
That man was the best looking of the Rolling Stones at one point. He had hair. All you wanted to do is look like Keith Richards, man. He had that
That's right.
haircut,
Right. Kind of a Jeff Beck haircut. Yeah.
Hey. He's the Dorian Gray of rock and roll, folks.
That's right.
There we go.
I see.
Go here and
check that
subscribe like I just did.
No, right on.
Groovy Lisa.
Groovy Lisa.
You see it, Lisa?
Far out.
Hey, Nick, thanks for doing that.
Just type
that's
it
awesome.
in and subscribe. This way you'll know to come back to it later after this. And
I want to
check her
That's
out.
right. Yeah, hit that notification bell so you get notified of shows too.
Yeah.
Now,
one great.
Looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
she gets fun.
Gary Spring just asked.
Yeah, she is.
If you know him, Slim Harpo. The name sounds familiar.
No, I'm definitely familiar with Slim Harpo, blues harp player. Yep. There's so many great blues harp players. That'd be a good show. Yeah. Blues harp players.
Yeah, I don't know the harp players like I know the guitar players.
Oh, I know.
And I've tried to play harp.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those instruments that has defeated me. I
know. I tried to play it too. It was terrible.
I love a good harp player.
Here's somebody you want to check out. Their name is, we found them on YouTube, and they came from Japan to play every year at our blues concert, and they're called Nakomi Tanaka and the Blues Temples. They put on a nice show. You know, they couldn't come here from Japan and get paid to do a show. The way they had to do it was they had to do it on their own dime and through a foundation, kind of roundabout through educational exchange, that they came and did a concert, and we were allowed to pay for their hotels, but we weren't allowed to pay them for the concert. It was
Okay.
learned a lot about international trade, you know, getting them here. But they do the blues all over Asia, and they tour full-time jobs, tour the blues circuit in Asia. It's incredible what they have going over there. And we found them because they were playing Little Walter.
Little Walter. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
that is
small
amazing.
world.
It is a small world.
Yeah, and they were such wonderful, loving people. They were just they were one of the group that was playing of the 7 on stage that night. I'll never forget that night. I bloodied my hands clapping so hard because I don't
Is that
play the
right?
harp. Oh yeah. I was on stage with them. I mean, you know, it was just incredible. A lot of fun. But
you
cool.
know, you just describing it, that's when
Thank you, Music Sanctuary.
live shows is the best, is when you can feel the tingle.
Yeah, and I was blessed to be a part of the organization to put it all together. So, you know, so it was it was a lot of fun, a lot of hours,
fun time for sure.
Yeah.
Well, folks, you know, we're running over on time again.
Yeah.
Always the case. I think we just have too much fun, if there's a such thing.
No.
So I want to thank all my co-hosts. You guys are so appreciated.
Thank you.
Michael, Caitlin, Nick, I'm so glad you hit the notification and jumped on.
And YouTube.
And I really want to thank the chat. I love this chat. I love all you people, man. You guys are great. You do a great job. You're so knowledgeable. You just really make the show. And so we're going to be signing off now. And that's what's happening in Royce's world today. Thank you all very much.